When I was at school, I was bullied by one certain pupil and also by the English teacher in particular. On one occasion being told that I was too thick to teach. This went on for 2 or 3 years. And then there was another lad in my class who was a member of a gang outside of the school, and he just said to me, look, Rich, I can sort it so you don't get bullied again, but you need to do something. So I said, what's that? He goes, you need to fight him. I hated this person, and he got 3 years of it. After that, he never laid a finger on me again. What I hadn't noticed, that I had been recruited into this gang. I left school at 14, I had no qualifications. I think I had the reading and spelling age of about an 8 to 10 year old. Our weekends would literally be, we would go out and we would literally just start a fight. I had to win because I was not going to become a victim again. And that's how I thought. To go up further in the gang, you do worse things. And the violence was getting out of hand, it was getting silly. I started going out tooled up. You look back and I could have really hurt people. My dad would keep coming to the police station. I was in the cells quite a bit. I ended up going into court a couple of times. If I hadn't had a judge that gave me the option of a youth training scheme for troubled teenagers who had no qualifications, I would have ended up in prison. So I started on a YTS scheme at 16 at Tesco's, and that's where I met Shell. So I needed to speak to these guys that I was involved with and say, look, I'm pulling away, I don't need this life anymore. It took me about 2 or 3 years to pull away. Shell was 19 and I was 20, we got married. And we'd been married 10 months when Shell's dad was on the Seabrugger ferry, which tipped over. And he passed away. There was 197 lives lost on that ferry, and he was one of them. Sadly, Shell's mum then passed away. Shell's brother caught septicemia. He was 48 and he died. When you lose somebody, they put you in a little room and they give you a cup of tea, and we was all sitting in there just trying to get over this when the nurse came in and said, is there Richard and Michelle Jordan in here? We said, yeah, that's us. You need to get over to the hospice. By the time I got over there, my mum had died. So within 2 hours of each other, we had lost 2 more members of our family. Because I weren't brought up in a Christian family, I just didn't really think about God or anything like that. But when my mum and Shell's brother died, it was his fault. I had nobody else to blame, so I blamed God. Why has he done this to me and Shell? Is it because of what I was like as a teenager? Is it because I had done all of these bad things? When we came back to Norwich, we had a friend here that we'd known for a little while before, and he kept asking us to go to church, and we just weren't interested. Even though he had known I'd gone through all of this, he still had the courage to say, go to church, Richard, come to church with me. And I went in and I sat there, I listened. All I can remember was as soon as the message started, I started to cry. All the anger that was in me was being drawn out through my tears. You know, the hate I had for this lad that used to bully me, and for myself for all the things I had done while I was a member of this gang. And I hadn't felt like that in 39 years at that much. Sorry. And this was a God that I had shouted at, still he took me underneath his wing. So, since giving my life to God, I've been baptised, passed my English literature. I've been given the privilege by Pastor John and Chantel to look over the prison ministry. I was released from the crime, I was released from the gang, I was released from my past. My past had been forgotten. What he was thinking about was my future, releasing all the negative and thinking of all the positive and moving forward and not back.